We're at the Circa in Las Vegas for day 2 of Mountain West Media Days 2025.
Day 1 were the players. Day 2 are the coaches. We also get to interview Gloria Navarro as commissioner of the Mountain West. So here's another interview.
We're here with Bronco Mendenhall, head football coach, Utah State Aggies. How are you this morning, Coach? How are you feeling about this season?
I'm great, thanks, and optimistic. Love my team.
Awesome. What brought you to Utah State? What was the the decision maker there to bring you from the Lobos over here to the Aggies?
Yeah, really a difficult decision, and hard to describe. I saw both Richard Pierce and Gabe Lopez yesterday.
Yeah.
My former guys at New Mexico, and so great to see them. And I love the University of New Mexico, and I love those kids. Never imagined that that wasn't part of the plan when I was hired there, that I'd be leaving. But it's pretty simple. My family, my mom in particular, just turned 94. 3 weeks after I arrived in Utah, after taking the job, she was put on hospice, and I get to see her every Sunday, which I never imagined at this stage in my career, and I'd have that opportunity, which has been amazing. 2 of my sons have transferred to Utah State. They were at BYU, and so one's on our team, and all of my brothers also live in Utah. So long answer to a simple question, but it's my true family. And I've always treated and worked to have my players and view them as if they're family. And I think they sense that, and that's real. And ultimately, this was kind of choosing between 2 families. And I think, well, my hope was the players would understand that. But that's what brought me back home.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I talked to both of your players yesterday, your former Lobo players. Both had great things to say to you, and it was great to hear them talk about you. And I mean, no animosity, and they definitely seemed like they wished you well. So you could tell that family atmosphere you had both places. I want to ask you about the recruiting profile at Utah State. What's just the natural recruiting geographic area for Utah State? And for you coming in, I mean, you have a high national profile. Is there anything, would you like to expand that? Is there any areas that you'd like to expand that maybe Utah State hasn't recruited in historically?
I think each school has a basic footprint. That doesn't mean the leader can't come in and alter that or explore. After being at Brigham Young for 13 years, I'm really familiar with the state and familiar with the bordering states. Utah high school football is very good. It's grown and expanded even since I was there. When I left BYU and went to Virginia. And so I think the majority of our roster will come from in-state high school players. I love that idea. I love that baseline. It is Utah State University. And then supplementing with bordering states is and makes a lot of sense. And ultimately, I'd like to have fewer transfer portal players and more stability in a true football program that's being developed from within, rather than the influx of immediate needs, which is kind of typical in college football today. And so I think you'll see a focus on the state of Utah, a focus on the Intermountain region, certainly the Pacific Northwest and California, and I could see us, and we'll have a presence in Texas as well. Further than that, probably not.
Okay, awesome. So I want to ask you. You brought up the transfer portal. What's your perception as a coach of the transfer portal? There's always kind of like a negative connotation in the media that maybe the transfer portal is ruining college football. But for you, as you're rebuilding this program, starting new here, you're able to bring in some of your players, or maybe there's players that want to follow you that they committed because they want to play for Coach Bronco Mendenhall. So what's just your perception on that? And if you believe there should be any kind of restrictions on maybe how many times they could transfer?
Yeah, I think anything in excess is a problem. And without the right governance structure, without the right enforcement arms, then anything can become maybe off kilter. And so the transfer portal provides a great opportunity. I think most in the profession see the frequency of the transfers and the numbers of the transfers. Those 2 things are probably where the biggest issues are happening. And taking over a new program, there's certain benefits. All of our new players didn't come through the portal, but on my current roster for this upcoming year, the number I was given is I think I have 87 new players on this given team. That's almost an entire team. So the transfer portal maybe softens that transition some, but it really can't be foundational, in my opinion, of how you build a program. Now, you could build successive teams that way, and I think others are trying that. But really, the transfer portal is also where it requires the most money and the most finance. And that in and of itself is a really unique challenge when you think about college athletics and amateur sport and et cetera. So all those things are built into what you're saying. So I love the opportunity for players to find a place if where they currently are isn't working. I would love that to be one time, not multiple times, but I don't think I can restrict that. But I do think the governance of is something to look at. And once we get to one portal window rather than two, I'll feel much more confident and I'll be more aligned with that. The two windows makes it even more volatile, even more challenging, and you're never quite sure what roster you have until you get to the summertime, and then you're going to play in about a month and a half. So that's pretty tough.
Going back to New Mexico, you obviously spent multiple stops there. How was your time there, and just kind of how do you feel about that place?
I wouldn't have gone back if I didn't love it. The people endeared themselves to Holly and I over our time there, first time and second time. I'm not sure we've ever been treated better. And the gratitude and the sincere hope for that program to have success, and when you do show improvement and a trajectory, the excitement, the hope, the gratitude is sincere and real. And the players feel that, the community feels that. And that part is powerful, especially for a program that hasn't had sustained success. And it's possible there. And I believed that the first time, I believed it the second time, which made it even harder to leave. And excruciating. It was really tough for both my wife and I. But I love those kids and I love that place.
Coach Mendenhall, if I could ask you one last question, what does success look like this year in your first year at Utah State? If you get to the end of the season, what does it have to look like for you to say, you know what, we had a good year?
Yeah, I was asked that question a year ago, and I remember being asked almost every year. I think it's maximizing potential. So as I look at my current team and as I see our roster develop, it's maximizing every resource we have. Our players performing at their highest level, the organizational design maximized at the highest level, the culture holding at the highest level, the fan support seeing and engaging and becoming, and the rest of that usually kind of takes care of itself in terms of wins. Most of my career has been postseason. I always expect that as a minimum, yet the other things that I mentioned, if they're not in place, it's hard to see the outcomes you want. So alignment, culture, and then the progress of maximizing everything we currently have is how I'll gauge it.
It's been another great day at Mountain West Media Days 2025. So many great interviews, so many people to talk to, so much great content for the channel. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, make sure you like this episode, subscribe if you like our content. We have a lot more Mountain West content coming. With that, we'll see you next time on the Big Mountain.